Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to podcast number 5 with my special guest, sister from another mother, troublemaker, Lisa Morris. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I just got out of class, torturing my students.
I love that kind of thing. You know, it's like torturing some clients that you don't care for as much either. You know, hold on to.
I love them, but they deserve it. They do. They do.
Now,
and how have you been? How are you?
You know, it's been a crazy week. Today is the lunar eclipse, right? So you will get some of the space cadets and the lower lying levels of spiritual dark energy just wanting to create havoc or throw a wrench in someone's day. And I think it started about 6 o'clock for me. And it hasn't changed yet. And I'm just going, oh, crap, this is like, we don't need this. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a haunted t-shirt for the holiday.
Ooh,
Yep. Purple's not my color. It's not. And I can see that you're turning blurry on us here. You must have some of that interference in your home again. Oh, there it goes.
So weird. You're blurry to me. What is going? Somebody's between us.
Again, there is. And we're not going to blame Joe, even though we want to. But, you know, this is like, I'm like, number one, I love you. And I love you for being on the show. And I love the whole idea of giving the audience the ability to see what psychics do to psychics. And
torture?
Oh, yeah, it is torture. But people don't understand when they're intuitive as we can be, or any intuitive. They leave a little energy footprint with that person that they talk to. Doesn't have to be a handshake. You don't have to touch. It's just an exchange of kinetic energy that comes from the psychic world. And you're all the way in Jersey. And I can tell you when there are certain things going on with you, like you feel with me. And we just interact with one another and we get that information. And I think a lot of psychics do this as well. And they do keep in touch with others that are very familiar to them and happy to them. But we do it to protect one another. We do. Mm-hmm. And we watch out for certain days, or I'll warn you on a Monday that there's absolutely no texting and driving, but you don't text, you talk and text.
See what happens? Somebody smacked him right off my head.
It's crazy. And it's just the whole idea of people having a concept of understanding what's going on. So this lunar eclipse is amazing because it's where the Earth sees its own shadow. And it does that 4 times a year. But this one is generating closure for every birth sign. Every single one, all 12 of them. But the genius part about this is Aries finally gets their turn at getting something good to happen to them. Capricorns get what they want for a change without complaining about it. And I think that's really good for all you Capricorns out there. I'm a Libra, so Libras actually get change and we get reinvented in ourselves. And that's going to be very, very good. Aquariuses are the other ones that see a definite change in their opportunity, their financial gain.
Thank God.
Promise of promotion or opportunity, which is going to be really super, you know, and that's going to help a lot of Aquarians because they do need that. The funny part here is when you see a Gemini now in this stage for the next 3 months, they're going to explode. They are going to have opportunity for new employment, and they are being looked at. It's just that they're not being talked about. And you know how Geminis like the attention in a way, but don't want the attention at the same time. So they're, you know, oh, talk about me, but don't talk about me too much, you know?
Don't talk shit about me.
Like, exactly. And I married one. So, you know, it's like we don't know who we're waking up to. We don't know. But it's going to be a surprise every day. So it's been like that for almost 16 years. So it's a surprise.
That's incredible, Jim. That is absolutely incredible because my ex that you're well acquainted with,
Yes.
The dog used to wait at the bottom of the stairs. If the dog went into the kitchen, we knew it was going to be a bad day. If the dog stayed at the bottom of the stairs,
Yep.
it was going to be a good day.
And that's awesome, right? But dogs are intuitive too. All animals are intuitive. It's just that they're not told not to be, like we are when we're kids. Oh no, your make-believe friend in the closet is not a make-believe friend in the closet. That is someone just hiding from the rest of us so that they don't get pushed away, so that they can still enjoy the comforts and fun of youth without how do I say that, without destroying them and making everything look bad for people. I just noticed, like, because it's Halloween month, right? And this is our Halloween special. And what happens is you see all the shows that come out, and how many shows are so frantic. They are voodoo-ish, they are demonic, they're dark, they're deep, they just want to scare the shit out of you, and they do a good job, I'm telling you. But I think some of the people that took that, and that is the imagination of many, and we do it today, none of them are really all that dark and mean. We got Grandma Etzel trying to find her husband. Let's try and find him. And she's just worried about where she is in the light. And people who are stuck, the activity in homes, all of that shit is just like, they have a message for us, right? And we just love doing that kind of stuff.
And Jim, you were absolutely, it's one of the things that really attracted me to you. Like, it just like gave me an immediate connection. I was watching Knock Knock Ghost. I told you this before.
Yeah.
And I said, now this guy, after I had watched 1,000 of them, and everything was a demon. Every time they turned around a corner, oh, it's a demon. But this one was different. You were very different. You were just no nonsense, walked through. If it was good, it was good. If it was bad, it was bad. And you just helped. It wasn't, oh, you're going to die. Yeah. You weren't doing that.
No. Even if they wanted to smack me and choke me and throw me through a wall and let me drown or not let me sleep. Not sleep paralysis. I was in Brantford. No, not Brantford. Oh, I forget someplace. It's where one of the judges lived. It was a house at one time, is now a hotel, and it's on one of the episodes. And I was lying down in bed, getting ready to sleep after we had finished the show, and I slept in this judge's room. And this is where they would say the water would turn on by itself, the lights would flicker, all of those things. None of that happened. I'm going, well, that's pretty fucking disappointing, And I'm just sitting there and I'm falling asleep and I'm slowly getting there. Next thing you know, I feel enough pressure on this bed that I can't move, like people talk about sleep paralysis, right? And you're going, what the hell is that? Can you let me go? Because I am going to get up here in a second and you're not going to be happy about it. Then the TV blasts on. And as the TV blasts on, it was the Boston Marathon where those two brothers blew up people.
Oh, God.
And they were doing the search for one. One died, and they were doing the search for the other, the younger one. And all I did was, when I was still in the bed being held down and looking at the TV, and this judge yells in my left ear and just says, they're guilty. I'm going, I know they're guilty. They're going to find them and everything is going to be okay. And then all of a sudden you felt the whole bed release and let go because he was so distraught about what was going on and how the world was feeling. So they're not bad, but they had to make their presence known, right?
Well, sometimes they are bad, because when I was a kid, Jim, I had several sleep paralysis experiences, and they were not, you can explain it away with medical terms if you want, but it was not your normal, I can't move. So one time I think I've told you this before, I was completely incapacitated, but there is a weird thing about it. I would know when it was coming. It was almost like a
change in your air or your energy?
Yes, everything around me would change. I would know it was coming. My stomach would drop. And I would say, oh my God, it's coming. I didn't know what it was. I was a little kid. And then it would come. I would go completely stiff, couldn't move, could see out of my eyes just a little tiny bit, and could not scream, could not do anything. The weird thing is I'm not a religious person, but I would start praying and asking God, please help me, send somebody, please do something. The first time this happened, I had an experience where I heard this voice, Jim. It was a gravelly voice from like the ages, something that I've never heard
something
before.
From the depths of darkness, most likely, you know?
And this is right after my father died. My father died when I was very small.
Okay.
And it said to me, don't even bother. You belong to us.
Oh, wow. You did tell me this one. Oh, my God. Yes. I remember this. Yes.
Fast forward years and years. I had another same experience, stomach drops. I see hooded figures at the bottom of my bed walking around. I'm trying to scream, and I start saying, please send angels, send anything that you can. I'm going to die. All of a sudden, I was lifted up. A light enveloped the room like I've never seen. It was golden. It lifted me up so gently, turned me on my side, and put me down ever so slowly. Everything was gone, and I could move. Wow. I am sure it was angelic.
Well, yeah.
Almost.
You see, I don't have her saying hi and back again to tell you the same story, but it's 100% when I listen to so many different people doing what we do. Some of the stories that they tell me are just like, that's where we go. I can't believe you, but this is our own truth, right? So it's freaky, those things. I never had those experiences. I had the old man in the sandbox finding my G.I. Joe for me because I lost it over the winter because I buried it in the sandbox. You know?
But that's sweet. That's sweet. That's not scary.
No, and very often the only scary thing, and I'm going to tell people this, is I had been looking for my mother after she passed away for 7 years. I didn't get a feeling, people will see butterflies or something that will be representation of their loved ones that they had mentioned. I got nothing. And I was getting upset. I went to go see a psychic, and she said, I'm not feeling her. I believe that she's around you, but I'm not feeling her. And I can tell people that too, because I can feel their essence, but they're not saying anything. And every year I went until I met this amazing psychic. Her name was Elizabeth. And she sat me down, put on the tape recorder, and we started listening to my mother have a conversation with me. And then she went to Elizabeth, and she said, I'm tired of my son calling on me for the last 7 years. He knows I was okay. I held his hand, he held mine. Now, nobody knew that in the hospital because I was alone with my mother. And I was holding my left hand and her left hand. And she's the one who mentioned to this psychic that your mother's saying that she gave you the light. She gave you that ball of light and it transferred to your hand. And then you were okay. Why do you need me anymore? So I got in shit instead of getting, oh, I missed you, Jimmy. Come over here and let me give you a big hug. Felt like she ripped my ear off and said, don't bother me again right now. And
but time doesn't mean anything over there, absolutely. Right, Jim?
No, it does not. But for us, it does. And even me trying to explain that to a client who's saying, I haven't heard from my mom at all. I don't have a sign. I'm going, they're not ready. Or they're having the time of their lives that they didn't have before. So they, you have your babysitters. Go away. I'll come and see you when I need to see you.
I have a lot of that with my dad. My dad died when I was 6, and he was like the apple of my eye. I loved this man.
Yep.
And he was taken in a car accident. Now, I want you to talk, if you can, speak to this about themes in a life.
Okay.
My father was killed when I was 6 years old in a car accident.
Okay.
My husband was killed in a car accident.
Yes.
His two brothers were killed in a car accident. I was driving home a few months later, came upon an accident, got out. The girl was dead, and I was able to help her sister. I held her sister until the ambulance came. And all I kept saying was, why? Why is this happening? Are there themes that follow us through?
If we haven't closed the past life and we have too many contracts, these car accidents are a reminder of something from your past life, a lot of trauma that we still wouldn't accept. And maybe that's why that kept on happening. And you and I know that your ex was darker than normal, and we don't know why that happened. And that's subject to a whole bunch of different things and theories. But
it didn't start out like that. In the beginning, it was very light.
And it just evolved because he was evolving and he was challenged, and those things happen. And there are those types of possessions that can happen to people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and isn't it possible for somebody after they pass? Because this was my impression. He was from Algeria, where they believe in the jinn. Yes. And he was very, very versed in the jinn. And we have had experiences when I was married with him with the jinn. Mm-hmm. Is it possible for somebody who crossed over to perhaps be possessed by one of these things, or have been
they probably didn't
even
make it? Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would say as they were traveling through their death, they were pulled into something. They were pulled into, you did not complete what you were supposed to be doing on the darker side. You're going to do this. So you're going to do this all over again. And you are going to be that person, but you're going to do it quicker and faster. Yeah. It's a tough go. And I've worked with demonologists, and I've seen some horrible shit. Trust me. And it's not nice to watch. But the greatest thing that I've taught you or taught so many others, and when you're going into an investigation, I don't care about the dark. I watch them, but they get absolutely no attention. It's just like my mother. She didn't pay attention to me. I'm certainly not going to pay attention to the dark side, because my job is to clear out the souls that are lost, the souls that need to go to the light, or the souls that are being held by these dark energies. And I show no fear. So absolutely, they go in, they get their freedom, but we get a little whack on the side of the head, or they make our days pretty miserable for a couple of days after that. But
these things, as you know, because you know the crazy stuff that swirls around me and my family. So these things tend to gravitate toward my family. And another thing is I'm starting to see, and I think I told you this, in my peripheral vision, whole lives going on where I clear almost like glass figures. I'll be sitting there writing. In the corner of my eye, I see people living their little lives out, but not straight on, from the corner. So I see movement. I see people moving around the kitchen.
And I try and explain
what do you think that is?
That's our dimensional view. That sometimes that they can hide in between their dimensions. It's like they're able to slip in and out somewhere. So we're catching the end result, or the entry or the exit result of your peripheral. They're leaving or coming. And they're fast enough and they're swift enough that they move into the floors, the wood, the ceiling, wherever they want to be. But I think that they're there, and sometimes we're so inundated with our other life issues that we're not fully focused on them. And when we go into these investigations, I shut everybody off, and I'm there for that. And I think if you shut us all off, which is difficult, then you would be able to see a little bit more away from that peripheral side, which I think is really cool. But that's my explanation to most of that, because everyone says, oh, I see something off the side. I'm going, well, just calm down and let them come and say hi. And we're going to be okay.
It's very weird because a lot of the times it's almost like shadow people. They don't really recognize, they don't even pay attention to me. It's like there's a whole other universe over here and over here. And things are just playing out as their lives. And
Yes.
sometimes I feel like I'm a voyeur. It's like a little bit of
I want to know
voyeurish.
more. I do. I want to know more. That's the whole idea behind what we do. And I think giving messages to people are so important. Before we go live with some people here, I just want a couple of more stories here. Over the weekend, what I like to do is a friend of mine had lost his father through cancer.
Oh.
And it was a very sad time. And it was sometime last year. And things kept us from not visiting one another and visiting the family and talking COVID, some other travel situations for both. And it was so beautiful for me to be able to sit down with the family this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And what was great about it was there was closure. There were words that were coming out of my mouth that I didn't know that I even had. There were situations that were family secrets that were coming out that they just loved. And they all just wanted to hear a voice of reason, like who their father was, why he was the way he was, the stubbornness, the argumentative side, the I'm in charge and this kind of stuff. And it wasn't really him doing that, but those are what people are looking for. And once they got this closure, they felt a sense of peace. And I watched their aura colors change into a sense of, okay, so he's in the light, he's okay. Then they go, okay, I'm going to trust Jim now. So what about my grandmother? Where is she? And where's my brother-in-law? And he was a good man. And I'm going, oh my God, now we're in a room of their angels. There was like maybe 10 people in the room. There was really 30 people in the room. And then when you start asking about other relatives from the past, the room fills up and you're in an auditorium. You don't know who's who in the spirit world. So it's when it's good things are happening, those spirits are just going to congregate and come out and give you as many answers as possible. I just wanted to share that bit because I really enjoyed that day. It was a lot of fun.
That's beautiful when you can deliver something like that to a family who's mourning. It's gorgeous.
It is. It really is. So, Joe, where are you? And what are you talking about? You don't want to come on and talk with me and Lisa? What's going on? You're hiding again.
Oh, you
have
used
some
to be
people
nice.
that want to have. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
The invisible Joe, eh? Oh, he gave us a flash. That's dangerous. You can get arrested for that. There we go.
Joey.
Joe. Yep. We're going to have to hide that whiteboard. It might look like you have a day job, but really it's a grocery list that you haven't covered yet. Can we fix that?
Any pork roll on that list?
Joe doesn't get paid a penny for this, by the way.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He is a good man. He will get paid. I don't know when, but he will.
He has angels. He's got angelics around him.
Oh, yeah. He's a protector. I did like what you said about him today, though. What did Lisa say about you in school? Something, Joe? Earlier, before we started?
Good boy.
Were you just like a... Really? Yeah, okay. We'll go with that story for now.
Well, you know what? Girls like the bad boys, so...
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay. Before he was married, the girls like the bad boys. Sorry.
I was the angel, so that didn't really matter.
Oh, you were not.
I tried to be. I tried to be. The nuns really
what
did.
kind of angels do that stuff? All right, anyway.
The nuns were very mad at me, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You can even ask some of them. Who does?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Joe. Yes, there's Guido Santucci, Mario from the game Mario Brothers or something, and Luigi. Those are the only ones that I know. Jill.
Saint Michael, Michael the Archangel.
Yeah,
he's my homeboy. So he has a lot of French, Franco-Italian energy going on.
Yeah. Oh, Sister Mary Elephant? No, that brings me back to the 70s. I meant Sister.
You do Saturday Night Live.
Yes, I know. Mother Teresa. You know, she's an angel. She is. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jill, for that question. That was nice.
Beautiful.
You know, it's a family affair today, right? My daughter's going out as a witch for Halloween.
Well, my kids call me the witch.
Well, no, they've called you other things, but I'm trying to be polite.
Yeah, well, that's...
You know. Meh. Does anybody want to come on and talk to us, Joe? Or do people have questions for us? Or are they just sitting there? Do we have anybody?
Just watching, talking.
They think it's a joke.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
They have. Go ahead. You go first, Lisa, but I'll finish it off.
I hate hearing that it's the time. I understand it's tradition, but I hate to hear that, it's the veil is thinner. They can get through. They don't give a shit if it's Halloween. Christmas is actually a bigger event for them, especially because it's so big to us and it's so packed with emotion. Halloween is a fun, mostly fun for people that take it as fun. It's a fun holiday, but I get way more activity around the holidays, around Christmas, and believe it or not, for me, Ramadan.
We have Diwali going on right now, which is amazing, and the Festival of Lights and the firecrackers, and it's kind of cool. But I find that the spirits come out on the Day of the Dead in Mexico.
But you know what's cool? They do like any of the, you were talking about the negative before.
Yep.
The negative will come out because they're expected, and anytime it's like you're manifesting it. They're like tulpas.
Agreed.
Tulpa is a thought form. So when you have so many people thinking of witches and ghosts and everything, they are just going to be on you like white on rice. So if you're toward the spooky part of Halloween, yep, you're going to get that.
And that helps them create that file on you so that they can have more on you at a later date and knock on your door. So those are not
3
good.
times.
At least, where are you? You know, I just find that I enjoy it. People do come to us quite often on and book you on TV or radio, and you talk about different things that you've gone through, and you know that the host is just rolling his eyes and you can't see the son of a bitch, but you know, they're there and they have a hard time because they're just doing it for their sensationalism. And when you're giving them really nice stories, that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear all of that dark energy stuff, and it's out there. Trust me.
They want to capitalize on that. And I think it's to the detriment of a lot of us, because then things, you know what, not so nice things glom on. So if you are always turning toward the dark, I did hear, and this is interesting, I did hear it was a priest, just shut your ears. It was a Catholic priest, and he was talking about how many exorcisms he has performed on people who do these shows.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm not talking, I got to get his name. I'm not talking about people like you that are sensible and whatever. It's the people that are constantly calling the demons, talking to them. Or there's one show where they're constantly calling them names. They're pulling them out. Like, come on, you think you're a man. This is a bad idea. Even with your angelics, it's a bad idea.
Oh, yeah. Because even the angelics will get upset about what they're trying to do and what they're saying or what their intent is, right? And I always say this, as we are living beings right now with a heartbeat, we don't want to be insulted and yelled and screamed at, because we're either going to ignore you or get mad at you. And the dead are the same way. So when you're like chastising or saying, oh, you don't want to come out and you don't want to scare us, or turn that light on for me, and they're looking at you, I'm not a dog. I'm not your servant, you know? unless they do
Yeah,
want
try
to
to do that
communicate.
in Bruno's house. Walk into your neighbor's house and try that out. See how
Yeah.
that works out for you.
So be kind. If there's something that's at the end of your bed at night and you're scared, just say, "Hey, listen, I'm not ready for you today. Can you go away? And if you can't, I can't help you," and move on. If you help yourself by telling them that you could feel the fear, but if you're able to deal with that fear in a good way and just tell them, "Go away, like I'm done with you," then off they go. So it's those kind of things that bring to life what the real sense of spirituality is and helpfulness. And Halloween should be getting people like us, getting anybody out there to really express the goodness that comes out of this, because we do think of our loved ones on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We go, wow. I remember my mother just, it's Canada, so I don't know if you ever had a Wilco or Woolworths is what it was called, like your Kmart kind of things, right? And going there, and we weren't the richest family in the world, so she would definitely go to the market, buy a bushel of apples, and then she would buy those shitty, horrible candies that I don't like, and we would eat those, and she would make sure that every kid got something on our street because she knew that the crowds were going to come. It was like, those are the good memories that I have from Halloween, and making sure that everything's okay. And she had 3 children, so there were 3 pumpkins. There weren't she always thought about us ahead of time. It's not
Right.
like in today's world where, well, we have 2 children, they're only going to get 1 pumpkin and they're going to do it together, or they get mad at the idea of doing that. My mother was so ahead of her time. It was amazing.
And I have a feeling children loved your mother. I think they gravitate toward people that are sensitive. I think they know that we know them.
Mm-hmm.
My grandson always is constantly, I heard it actually on another podcast where somebody talked about a similar thing, that when he was a little kid, he saw something that looked like a bear with red eyes. Now, my grandson is saying all the time, "I'm scared of the bear. I'm scared of the bear." He's from New Jersey. He's scared of the bear.
Do it.
Yeah. But I told him, I said, "I want you to hold your hands out." And I said to him, "Point your hands in the direction of the bear." And I said, "I want you to push him back with your energy. Push him back." I said, "Tell him, go away, bear." And I asked him one day, I said, "Is the bear gone?" He goes, "Well, sometimes he comes back, but I do my magic hands." So he knows.
See, they do know. And that's the whole idea behind that, is that we're not frightening our child, and we're educating them to say, you have these tools that you can use, and allow them that freedom to deal with it. They become better people for it too.
He knows. And he knows something's up with me, because he looks right into my face, and we recognize, you know how when you look into a child's face and you really recognize that child?
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird recognition. He recognizes me. He'll stare at me into my eyes for an hour. And he holds my face like this. And I look at him and I'm like, "Who are you?" So it's very, very odd. But he knows.
And I noticed when I was with what I had as my ability, I would see kids with certain spirits around them, elders, and you would just, I wouldn't understand why they would always be around them, but they were there to hold them up, to help them, to celebrate, to watch them grow in grade 1, grade 2 as I was growing, and they were always helping them and encouraging them. And you can see the difference when I can see that happening, and the kids are unaware of what's going on, but their enthusiasm is there, their excitement is there, and it's just not their personalities, it's their spirits lighting a fire around them to make them happy and secure. So it was always good. I just had visits, but never from family members, but none of my family died much when I was young. It was all when I was a late teen.
They're better at manifesting too, I think. I think that they are, when they're small, they have magical thinking. So they manifest quite well when they're small.
Oh, yeah.
And unless they've been beaten down, when they've been beaten down, they have to learn how to do it all over again.
Yep.
But I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Now, I never asked you this. I never asked you how Jill thought. Okay, so children, yes, but
Yep.
spouses are interesting. So, my husband, who he knows we have telepathy going on between us. He knows I know things that I probably shouldn't know, but he's afraid of that.
Right.
So he pushes it away. And one day I came home and he was leaving offerings in the back for the I knew what he was doing for the Native Americans because we had a big wooded area. And I saw everything set out on the stump, and I went to say something, and I just pulled back. I could feel it from him. This was his exchange with the spirit world, and he wanted to do it his way. I didn't want to get in the middle of it and say, oh, you're doing this. You should do this. I just let him have his transaction. How does Jill handle your abilities?
At the beginning, it was like a million questions, and it's all fun because it was, and explaining things to her and giving a lot of sound advice, and that helped the both of us learn about each other. But eventually, I was always white lighting her or always giving her these additional protections and giving her explanations of things that can be unexplained, but this is why these things are happening. Jill, I find, is pretty intuitive now because I've grown on her, and she's allowed herself to develop these skills, which freak people out because they go, well, your husband's psychic, but you must be psychic too, or you're psychic by marriage. And now I can honestly say it is because she doesn't profile people. She reads them, and I look at them and going, well, you've done my job. Thank you very much. I might as well just move on. But she doesn't always get a lot, but she gets what is necessary for her to help move forward, or if there's something for her to worry about, because she'll say to me that our daughter's not feeling well, and I look for specific colors, and I'm going, to me, she looks fine. And 5 seconds later, she's throwing up. So it's just like, okay, so I've screwed up there somehow. Why is that happening? Right? So, yeah. And she's already a motor mouth. I'm a motor mouth. So there's we really fight for time to talk to each other because we have so much to say.
Your daughter is a piece of work. I watch her, and she psychically protects both of you. You know that, right?
Oh, she's an old soul. She looks at us and she just, wow. And she even takes care of the dog. But it's just like, oh, okay. For us, the shock was 2 Christmases ago. I've said this on so many shows. Mommy, Daddy, your fingers have rainbows on them. We're going, oh boy, here we go. And Jill says, you better start writing that goddamn book. And I'm going, yeah, I know. And I got to do that book. And so she's seeing aura colors on us and expressing what she sees, and she was giving us the colors, and we're just sitting there. That's amazing, Amelia. That's so cool to see, isn't it? And she just said, yeah, it is. Poof, off to sleep she goes. But
I think that she has that bullshit monitor also, which is very cool. I think she, from 1,000 miles away, can tell somebody that really has an ability and somebody that's full of crap. So if you put her in front of 12 psychics, she could pick out the ones.
Her new teacher says she's quite articulate, and she almost acts like an adult in a classroom of grade ones. And maybe it was COVID and living with adults in the first place, but at the same time, her mannerisms aren't the same. When she hears a kid cry, she looks and goes, what the fuck are you crying for? And she's doing it without the swearing, but that's what she's doing, going.
But she's not going to understand. What's really weird is I was a kid like that. I couldn't understand the wailing and crying when people died because I knew they were right there.
Yep.
There was no there. There was just here, and I would see, and I would know that they were there. I think I've told you a few times, I don't see full-bodied apparitions because I think I'm a little freaked out about them. So
they take their time.
Mm-hmm.
It is good. Hey, Joseph, we've been talking now for so long. We got 20 minutes left. Does anybody want to talk to us?
Anybody there?
Okay. I can't see the chat because I'm not logged in. I'm a guest.
Oh boy, you're gonna make Joe do this?
You're going to have to read them out to us, Joseph.
Joe, you're gonna get a raise.
Come on.
Yeah,
I'll just add $1.
$2.
I'll add a. Do you guys have a $2 bill?
We used to. They got rid of it because it's too confusing for us.
Okay. I thought, okay. So, yeah, ones and fives. All right. I felt big at casinos with ones and fives. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Just one. Throw it.
Oh, you can do it however you feel comfortable with. The yelling will give them an interpretation to me that you're saying it with a bit of fear, and you want to show. And so they will stick around a little longer. The easiest way is to look at them, and it's as if telling your dog off or telling your child politely with a little bit of sternness, you're not allowed to do that. You go in that way. I just look at them and go what time is it? It's time for you to leave. And they
take off.
Just go. But I understand when you're feeling that, and I'm trying to do the joking aside, just be a little bit more assertive. Open up your eyes when you're having the conversation. Pull the blankets down and say, "Get the hell out of my room. You don't belong." And light yourself.
Fear eaters love that. When you get all upset and you start to shake and you're upset, they are just eating all that fear. So the less fear that you can show them, because anger usually comes from fear and vice versa. So it's just like the more emotion you can put into it, the more they can suck out. So
exactly. And then they have that new little file on you. So the next time that they come around, they'll know that they can antagonize you that little bit more. I hope that answers your question.
He doesn't like when I touch his nose. He gets really mad when I whisper this in his ear. Let's see if we can get him going again.
Exactly. It's important. Next question, Joseph. Now the trucker, is this the one with the heart attack? So 1998, I was traveling from Toronto to Montreal to visit our family for the holidays. As we got to the halfway point, because I was OCD about making it halfway, and then the other half would be great, and we'd stop for a club sandwich, as we call it, with some soup and grilled cheese. And I was going into this place called Joyceville, Ontario. And I stopped at this gas station that we'd always stop at for years. And I said, okay, it's pretty busy tonight because it's a holiday weekend. Go in, find us a seat. I'll park the car. As I was parking the car, I'm looking at this guy on the phone. Big guy, man, a pretty big guy. And I'm checking out to see where my family's sitting. I see them over there, and I'm watching this spirit manifest in front of him. I'm seeing darkness on his right, and I'm seeing a white light of only one figure in front of him. And I'm going to sit down, and I'm very uncomfortable with the whole situation because I've had my spidey sense going like crazy, and I'm going, something's not right with this guy, blah, blah, blah. And as I did that, I said to my family, hey, I got to go talk to this guy. They all rolled their eyes and did their thing, and here goes Dad again, blah, blah, blah. And I walk out of the restaurant into the hallway of because we didn't have cell phones back then. We had pay phones. Walked up to him, and I just said, excuse me for a sec. And he was already angry because his dispatch wasn't running right and all of this stuff. And I said, I'm being told to tell you that you need to go to the hospital. And he sort of just looked at me and he said, get the F out of here. Who the hell are you? Blah, blah, blah. If you don't leave me alone right now, I will break this phone over your head. There was a whole bunch of verbiage that was coming off. I'm going, whoa, this guy's angry at the world. And I just said, dude, Elizabeth is talking to you. And she's the one. He dropped the phone right down. His mother was Elizabeth, who had died of a heart attack. the year before, older. And I said, you need to go to the hospital. And she wants you to go right now. He looked at me, called a taxi from that truck stop, went to Kingston General, which was a teaching hospital, and he had triple bypass surgery that night and survived. He lived another 15 years after that.
Jim, did I tell you about the black serpent? That is amazing. What you
No.
There's a gentleman that I know that every time I saw him, he had the only thing I could say that it looked like. Did you ever see Quetzalcoatl?
Yes.
It was a god for the Aztecs. So
yep.
and this young man was he was Hispanic,
mm-hmm.
and I would see him, and I would see this big snake, bloated and sick, around his stomach. And he's spiritual, so I would tell him, and he would say, I don't know. I said, I think it's familial, and I think it just keeps going. I think something's wrong. Oh no, I think it's this, I think it's that. He just learned he has lymphoma.
Oof.
And the other person in his family that had the same thing, that I saw the same thing around, had lymphoma as well.
Wow.
And died of it.
See, and that's what my mother passed away from, which is now almost 99.9% curable.
Yep. So whatever this thing was either causing it or feeding off of it. So I'm not sure which.
It's insane how people or the spirit world want us to give messages to the most difficult of people.
Yeah, of course.
It's insane.
Why make it easy? Why?
So those are things. I do it now, even with Jill or with Amelia with me. I'll just say, hey, I've got a message for you. I'm a psychic. Can I give you that message? I don't pull that very often, but when you know that person needs that message at that time, it happens. And if you look at my Instagram and people will say, I really needed that message right now.
Yep.
It addresses them. And I try and be serious and confident in the things that I say, but at times you just want to say the fuck word 10 million times on Instagram just to say, I'm human too, guys. Like, I'm allowed to swear and be an ass.
And you're allowed to be tired too.
Yes, we are. People don't realize it's I'm in between 36 to 24 people a week.
Oof.
That's not including my life coach clients.
Right. And
I love
difficult.
it. Don't get me wrong, guys. Look at me. I love it. Okay. The reason why you say that is because each person has a different situation going on. Each person has a different value, and each person, even if they might be going through the same thing that somebody else was, it's a different emotion that they're feeling. Some of them can feel anger about their father passing away, and some people can feel extremely happy about their father passing away, not because they are glad that he's dead, that he's not suffering anymore. So there's so many different variations of it, right? And you let them be, and they go, I really wish I made the drive to my dad and he passed away without me there. Is he mad at me? That is the biggest question I get. And now I'm just going to take away from my opportunities of making money off of this. But when we are dying and you don't make it somewhere, they come and give you the biggest hug, the biggest kiss, because they know how upset you're going to be about not being there. That is what I'm after. Those are the questions and answers that I give people, that you can see the sigh of relief, the tension going away, the colors change, because we punish ourselves so hard for trying to be so good to the people that we love that sometimes you just can't be there. But I can tell you another version of this is because they don't want you there. They don't want you to see them in that state. They want you to remember them for how happy they were, how healthy they were, not being in a bed listening to sounds that nobody wants to hear, And that's why they don't let you go there. The answers are simple, I think, sometimes, and we just don't like simple answers.
Jim, somebody had a question for you that I was talking to today, which is wild because I wasn't expecting to see you today. But what I wanted to ask you is, somebody asked me how to avoid getting trapped by a nasty spirit or a nasty on the other side. What do you have to do?
So for me, and if no one's ready for it, it's an arsenal of white light. It's an arsenal of wearing certain crystals. If you can't get rid of them that day, you go to the store the next day and buy them. Chasolites, some hematite, something that will send in some bravery, some rose quartz to give you the confidence that you need, those kind of things. But understand, you go in with the intent of good. Those nasty people are going to still be nasty, but they can't control you. So I go in when I know that I'm going into some place. I go in with white light. I go in with the intent of love, and I go with the intent of giving someone closure. And
now I think some people, when they're dying, get scared because they watch these shows and people say, oh, these 4 people are trapped. Yeah. These things are trapping them. They can't get away. They're like, and how terrifying is that to be told that your father just died and he might be being held captive by something.
Right. And, you know, this is what the sensationalism of the television for the last 25 years have done to people. And so if we're leaving this earthly body and our soul is changing, our soul will enter that white light in fear. And still they're trying to hug us and take care of us and love us. But we're still looking for the darkness, and we don't realize how much they're trying to bring us into the light. And that's the ones that we always return back into the light. We give them. And your guides
aren't you born and die with one guide, and it doesn't ever leave your side?
Ever. Yep. It's a very interesting one. Mine is female. She's never given me her name, and she's always been there. Always.
I don't know whether mine's. Did you ever speak to Rachel on my side? The red hair one?
Yes, I did.
She's got, she's Celtic.
Yep. And those are good. Those are good people. You know, Joe, again, if I had the applause meter, if I had logged in properly, everything would have been cool. And I want to, thank you very much.
How about a
Joe.
Jersey clap? Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Bird of prey. Lisa.
Joey!
I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. It was awesome. Last minute.
Thank you.
Covered my ass, protected me, did all what we needed to get done. All right. It was awesome. Kevin thanks you. Paula thanks you. The world thanks you. Joseph, thank you. We're going to sign off now.
Awesome.
Have a great night, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Good night, and have a spooky one, but not a scary one.
Beautiful.